Hello. Oh, hello, everyone. I jumped the gun before the recording started. I am over the moon excited for our special guest. Stormy and I talked last week sometime, and we were kind of brainstorming on some amazing people that we could ask to speak to us as a team. And both of us, like we said it at the exact same time. We were like, Elissa. And so I got the privilege of asking her. I was like, can you do me a favor? I know that you're going for the promotion of ambassador, but can you give me 30 minutes? And of course, I know her. And she was like, absolutely. So excited that you're on today. I am just going to really just turn it over to her. She's going to tell us a little bit about her story, because I don't know if you've heard it or not. She's a powerful story. And then at the very end, we'll open it up just for a very few questions. So just to let you know, there is a chat section. If you're like me and you have a question that you want to immediately write down, we'll get to that in the chat. So you can write it down in the chat. But Elissa, thank you for being on. I'm just going to let you take it away.
Sure. Hey, everyone. I'm so excited to be here to share with you guys just some tips for promotion months and also just share a bit of my story. I joined this company as a 22-year-old 7.5 years ago. Absolutely no idea what I was doing, had not tried any of the products, not a salesperson, all the excuses. All my friends were broke. There was a million reasons I could have said no, and I just jumped in anyways. I wanted to try the products. I was unhappy with my body at the time. I was super insecure, but also just couldn't pass up the opportunity to make extra money. So jumped in. You can say I was the definition of ignorance on fire. I was real with people about what I was doing. I was overly excited. My Facebook posts were awful. I didn't even have an Instagram account. It was just action and just perfecting things along the way. And I always tell my new distributors, seriously, the best way to learn is just to do it and then fix it later. You'll learn along the way, but you can only learn if you take action. And so that was me. My story is unique in that I actually promoted really fast. I was very fortunate to have, to not be a high recruiter, but to have several people who were, that did really amazing off the bat. And so in return, I was able to promote to triple in about 7 months. Again, I was 23 at the time. So it happened so fast that I was like, you know what, this could go away tomorrow. I don't know. I still don't even know what I'm doing, and I'm making more money at this than my full-time job. And so, that sounds so crazy looking back on it, that I didn't take advantage of what I had going and the momentum I had at the time. But I was working a retail job at the time. I also coached club volleyball. I also catered wedding showers and baby showers. And so I had a lot of random jobs going on. I worked about 60 hours a week, and I was still making more money with this job than I was with all of those jobs. And I actually ended up buying the boutique that I had been working at. Most of you guys know who I bought it from. It's Ashley Sinclair. She's the one that got me started in the business. She was my boss at the time. She actually tried to talk me out of signing up for the business, but I signed up anyways. And I bought the store from her. So here I was, a 23-year-old. I had always wanted to own my own business. I thought that maybe I would when I was in my 40s or 50s or whatever, however old you need to be able to afford to buy a business. I didn't know how old that would be. And so here I was thinking I'm 23 and I'm already living my dream life. I'm making several $1,000s a month from my phone, and I own a store and I have employees. And the truth is, after a few months of buying that store, I was extremely stressed. I was spending 99% of my time, 99% of my dollars just to keep that store running, to keep the lights on, to keep my employees happy, to keep inventory, to pay for rent. You name it. When you own a small business, everything is your responsibility. When the hot water heater goes out, the air conditioning, the light bulbs, my goodness, it was so expensive. And so, I looked up after a year or two of just thinking, I'm just going to put all my time and money. This will be where I make my money. It's going to happen. It's going to pay off. And then looking up after about 2.5 years, thinking, I am miserable. I'm in my early 20s and I couldn't be more stressed. And this is just not the way that I want to live. I have this opportunity in my hand that I've basically been ignoring and neglecting. I never went away. Like, don't get me wrong. I was always grateful for the business. I showed up to things. I still posted, but I wasn't working my business like I was going to make $1 million. I was working it to maintain. And so that is no way to work your business, especially, I want you guys to hear this, like right now with what we have going on in this company, this is not a time to be trying to maintain or just coast. Like, you will kick yourself in a year or two wishing that in 2019 you would have taken advantage of everything going on. And so that was me in 2014 wishing, man, I wish I would have taken advantage of that momentum in 2011, 2012. I didn't realize what I had my hands on at the time. And so in 2014, I decided that that was it, that I wanted to sell my store, that I no longer wanted this to be a plan A or a plan B. I wanted this to be the only plan. I wanted to travel. I was in a long distance relationship. I wanted to move to Houston. I was doing a 9-hour difference long distance relationship. So that was super fun. And I didn't want that life anymore. And so I ended up selling the store, but that's when I made a decision in November of 2014 that things have to change. I need to get my life together. I need to get my team together. My chart is a hot mess. I don't know how in the world I will ever get from here to where I want to go, but it has to happen. And so you guys will hear that even tonight on the Show Me the Money call. They all talk about, I just made the decision. I made the decision. And it sounds so ridiculous, but I'm going to say it too, because that's what happened is I made the decision that this had to be it. And then everything I did on a daily basis was based around that decision to go for it. And so that was November of 2014, started to like rebuild, which I hate that term, but started to make my plans to go presidential. Went presidential in May. My now husband went diamond, double diamond. I went presidential. We earned $100,000 in bonuses in those few months. Became a top earner for the first time. Like none of that had ever been on my radar before. And with a matter of 6 months, everything changed just from making a decision on one day. And so that's kind of my story in a nutshell. I sold my store the same week that I went presidential. I literally packed up all my stuff, drove to Dallas to be with my triple diamond that was promoting, and I promoted before I had even made it all the way back to Houston. So I'm pushing for ambassador now, and I think I have some good tips for you guys, even if you're pushing for Ruby or Emerald or 400 Club or whatever it is. It all kind of looks the same, just on a larger scale, depending on what promotion you're going for. So do you want me to just like dive in? I haven't looked at the chat, so
we're good. Yeah, chat's just encouraging you on. Been there, done that. Amazing story. Love you. Lots of positivity. So yeah, give us all the tips.
Okay. Well, just know, like, just to preface this, some of this is going to be for people that are really pushing for like diamond and above. But again, I think it all applies. You just kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, depending on how far you are into your business and how big your team is. Some of it will look a little bit different. But the first thing I want to address is those of you pushing for diamond or above. I would even say emerald or above, but specifically diamonds or above, because those are the people working for those big bonuses right now. You can't expect your life to look the same in March and still get paid a $10,000 bonus. Like, something is going to have to change. Something's going to have to give. The company just doesn't give you a $10,000 bonus for doing the same thing you've been doing for the last 30 days, 90 days, 3 years. You're going to have to make a change. And it's going to mean sacrifice. It's going to mean some late nights. But the cool thing about this business, and especially where we're at right now with all the momentum that we have right at our backs, it's like riding a bike or running when when you have the wind at your back and you're going so much faster than you would if you were against it. We have that momentum pushing us. And the cool thing is, if you sprint in this business like 30, 60, 90 days, you don't just get paid for those 30, 60, 90 days. You sprint and you get paid on those sprints for years and years if you do it right. If you'll commit to sprinting for the next 90 days and doing everything you can, soaking in everything from your sponsor, getting on all the Show Me the Money calls, showing up for all of the Zooms and the power hours. If you can commit to doing all of the things that maybe you often intend on doing but don't show up for, or all the things you tell your team to do but you don't do, if you will commit to doing those for 90 days, it's not just a 90-day paycheck. you're not just going to get paid in March, April, and May. The money that you can make over the next 90 days is going to continue to pay you for a really, really long time. So I would encourage you guys to make a list of those things that maybe you keep meaning to do and you're not doing, all of the ththings that have been stressing you out or you've been putting off because you're not sure how to do it. Maybe you've been wanting to do an expo and you just can't make yourself do it, or you want to do a party but you're not sure if people are going to show up. Stop saying that you want to or you're thinking about it, and just put it on the schedule and just do it. And show up to, if you want to attract runners into your business, if hey, there's no way I'm getting to diamond unless I recruit someone that's going to help me with this chart, then you need to be the person first that's working your chart and that's hustling your tail off, because you're not going to attract anything that you aren't. So if you need to attract a rock star, you've got to be the rock star first. You've got to be showing up, even if your team isn't with you. I cannot tell you how many events I've been to, how many expos and trade shows and conferences and one team, one missions I've gone to and literally been the only person there on my team. But I keep showing up because I know my team will eventually show up if I'm there. So you've got to be that person first. Okay, so next thing is, regardless of what promotion you're working for, you need to have a chart. If you do not have a chart already with you this month, you're already behind. You need to have your ruby, emerald, diamond chart, whatever. You need to have that filled in either with names of people on your team or the people that are going to be on your team that you're convinced are going to join you and be in this business with you. Start filling out that chart, know exactly what you need for the month, figure out, and someone specifically like your sponsor, someone can show you kind of how to estimate where people are going to be. But if you don't know where your next customer or distributor is going when you sign them up, you're not going to sign them. I'm a big believer that if you don't have a plan for where they're going, your mind will not let you urgently go get that person. So figure out your game plan for the month so that you will go out and make it happen. So if you guys don't know, they're in your eSuite under documents. Just search Ruby, search Emerald, search Diamond. Print out that roadmap. And the other advice I would give you is if you're close to being charted for a promotion, go ahead and print the next one. Because again, if your chart has a bunch of people in boxes, and you don't have your next chart with empty boxes, you're gonna slow down and you're gonna stop recruiting, because you're just gonna look at this chart thinking, how can I just get the volume? How can I get these people to work? You always need to be looking one step ahead, especially with the way the new charts are. Not gonna go way into that. The new charts are amazing, but the new charts encourage you to keep charting and to keep building, because you have to get the volume that's required for them. So make sure you have your roadmap. And then, are there any other questions in there? Because I can just keep spilling off tips.
You're good. I'm just tipping. I'm putting the chat tips.
Okay. I'm like, because I will get distracted if I try to read it at the same time. So, okay, so a few things. I'll just specifically tell you what I've been doing this month. Some just very tangible things that you guys can work on as I push for ambassador. The first thing, and I heard this from Mira Denning, is to make a favors list. And so I started this last month, but seriously, anyone that you would ask a favor of, if you were sick and you needed soup, if you had a flat tire and you needed them to fix it, if you have old customers that love to cheer you on, people that are always on your post, your moms, your uncles, anyone, like, you need to have a favors list, because these are the people at the end of the month when you need volume or you need someone to host a post for you. Like, you need to have a list of, like, here's the people that if I was 30 BV away from a $10,000 bonus, I know that even if they're not interested in what I have, they're going to order, because that's the kind of person that they are. So have a list of those people. I thought that was such good advice when I heard that. And you guys can get creative. You know way more people that will do you a favor than you think. And then the other thing that I've been doing is I've been thanking every single person that's done a host for me ever, and asking them if they would consider trying the products from me. And I can put the script in the chat a little bit later, but it's basically like, hey, so-and-so, you were so sweet to help me last December. I'm feeling bold and I had to ask you one more favor. I'm pushing for a huge promotion this month. It would mean the world to me if you could support me. And then just a little bit about like looking for people to try the products for 90 days in exchange for a huge discount. And then when they say yes, which a lot of them actually have, a lot of them have ignored me, but there's a lot of people that have said, sure, send me more info. And when I get to that point, I just say, here's the deal. We have tons of products. Which number fits you best? And then I just list off like, I want to lose 10 to 15 pounds. I need more energy, less stress. And I give them like 6 numbers to choose from. And it's been working like a charm. So there's a little secret tip for you. And those people have already helped you. You've already had some sort of conversation with them if they've hosted a post for you. And so that's been amazing. And then obviously follow up, like I'm like following up like a crazy person. Like some of these people I haven't followed up with in like 2 years because they ghosted me after about 17 messages. They're still getting a follow-up message. I usually keep it really lighthearted. Like I'll say like, hey, I don't want to be a pest. And I'll send them like a few bug emojis, but I'm pushing for a huge promotion this month. You know, I know you've been interested in XYZ in the past. Would you be willing to support me trying products that you already were interested in? And following up like a crazy person. I can't stress that enough, like every single person. And then for those of you that have been in longer, following up even with old distributors, old loyal customers, again, following up with anyone and everyone. I've had distributors that weren't working the business but love the products, asking them to switch over to be a loyal customer, or telling them they still have an active account and just treating them like they're a customer, getting them to just place an additional order saying, hey, you know, the business isn't right for everyone. Sometimes it's all about timing. Why don't you just try the products for a while, and then maybe you'll jump back in once you find some things that you love. Because the important part in going presidential, which I know is what a lot of you guys are a part of, presidential promotions and ambassador promotions, they need the volume. Like seriously, every order, it not only helps your presidential, your ambassador, whatever upline, every piece of volume grows your paycheck. So why wouldn't we work like this every month, where every little bit, every little 30 BV order makes a huge difference, not just for you, but for everyone on your team. And something that I've been telling my girls recently is that you don't understand the value of that one customer you put in, or you just pushing to do a little bit more, or you staying up just a little bit later in this month will mean to someone else on this team. And if you want to attract the type of people on your team that will fight for your promotion down the road when you're pushing for triple or presidential or whatever goal you're pushing for, then you need to push for your own goals. And then also like realize that extra loyal, that extra distributor, that executive promotion, that Ruby promotion could mean everything to someone else on your team. And so, you know, of course we're in business for ourselves. We're not just here to help other people hit their promotions, but it's part of working as a team, and it's part of what makes this business so stinking fun. Like I remember part of the reason I went triple is because I knew my sponsor needed me to be triple for her to go ambassador. And so I loved being a piece of that puzzle. I wanted to know where she needed me to be in order for her to hit her promotion. And because I wanted that same thing. I wanted to be able to put people's names up on a door and say, I need you here, and to know that they were going to fight for me. And I knew to have that kind of team, I needed to be willing to fight for someone else. So it's just something to keep in mind. Like all of our goals are so intertwined with each other's, and sometimes we don't realize it, but trust me, if you work like you're going diamond every single month, one of these months you're going to look up and you're going to be going diamond, and you're going to be going diamond with a team that's fighting for you to go diamond, that wants to see that happen for you. So I just love promotion months because it's so fun, and everyone gets more money because everyone's more excited, and that's what we're all here for, right? Some extra money. So let me see. I put some notes down just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. One other thing I'll throw out here, and then if we have some questions and stuff, I'm happy to answer them. But a lot of people are looking at the new charts or looking at volume, or like maybe you're sitting at executive or Ruby and you're looking at a diamond chart thinking, I have like 400 in sales right now. I don't even have a brain cell for having that amount of sales come in or that many people on my team. What I would like you to know is that the volume and the sales and the increases in the momentum comes with the bigger your team gets. So don't stress over having to go from X amount of volume to this amount of volume. You can't control all of that on your own. The only thing you can control is showing up every day, sharing the business, sharing the products. The sales is going to come with the people. So it's just our job to share, and it's going to come with the chart. And you guys have probably heard this a million times, but it's just that snowball analogy. Right now, if you're sitting at distributor or you're working towards executive or Ruby, you may be the only person pushing the snowball. Okay, the snowball is your business, and you might be the only one putting any sort of effort into it. But eventually, you find someone just like you, and then you find another person like you, and then one of those people finds someone, and the snowball gets bigger, and it gets going faster, and you're still pushing it just as hard. You haven't increased your speed, or you haven't changed what you're doing. You're still just pushing the snowball, but you're making more, and it's growing faster, and eventually it's growing so fast, and you're barely tapping it. And that's how cool this business is that if you teach duplication and you keep it very simple, eventually you have this giant snowball, this giant business or this giant team and this chart that's working on its own. And so that's what I mean with like the volume's going to come with the people. Our job is just to share. So don't get so overwhelmed with, I don't even know how I'm going to get there. You just keep it to the steps. Share the products, share the business. Do you want to make extra money while you try the products, or you just want to try the products? That's all we do over and over and over. And then we teach other people to ask those same questions. So try to not make it more complicated. We tend to, during promotion months, think that there's some other magical thing that we have to do. And while we work more and we usually get less sleep and we follow up maybe more obnoxiously than we would other months, what we actually do is the same stuff over and over. We're just doing more and more and more of it, and just encouraging our teams to do more and more and more of it. So try not to overcomplicate it too much when it comes to hitting these promotions. And then just a little bit of charting advice. Obviously, you need to understand the new charts. I'm sure that you guys have all seen videos. I'm sure people are helping you with it. Make sure you understand how to get to your promotion because it is different, especially for those of us that have been in for a while. Last month was a good trial run, figuring out like the new Ruby situation and everything. And I could go on and on about why I love the new charts. I told you guys I wasn't going to get into that. But a few things. First of all, make sure your key players know how to be commission qualified. Aren't we so glad that our new charts have less people that need to be commission qualified? Thank goodness. You know, we don't have executives that have to be commission qualified. So be really excited about that. But make sure your key people know what it takes to be commission qualified. And then what I'm also telling people, and how I like to chart at the beginning of the month, and it's only the 4th. So if you guys are a little bit behind, it's fine. Get your chart out, and what I do is I put a check mark over anyone that is in a promotion spot. So anyone that's in a Ruby spot, Emerald spot, Diamond spot, again, depending on your chart, I put a check mark over them so that I don't have to think about their box. All I have to do is make sure that they're commission qualified. The smaller you can break up your promotion, the better, and you can make it bite-sized so you feel like you can actually chip away at it. If you just pull out a Ruby or Emerald or Diamond chart and you're just looking at the whole thing, it can be really stressful. So break it down into bite-sized pieces. Don't worry about the people that just have to be commission qualified. They need to be commission qualified, but just put a check mark over them. And then you can use the report, the volume total by distributor report, and you can see where everyone ended last month. So you can put check marks over anyone that was over 400. Again, all of this stuff you'll have to double check later, but the more, I'll show you, like the more boxes you can put a check mark over, it's like, now I can do it because my focus is narrowed down to those people that don't have check marks, knowing that I'll have to go back and make sure everyone else is good. That has helped me so much mentally. So if you get really overwhelmed with charting, have someone help you do that and show you where to focus. Even if you need to take a Post-it note and just cover up part of your chart and choose the spot where you're focusing, whatever you need to do so that you wake up every day knowing that it's possible. Because that's half of a promotion. Well, probably like 85% of a promotion is just believing you can make it happen. So choose a part of your chart that you can break down and do it. And then if you're like pushing for Emerald or Diamond or above and you've got some people working, the nice thing is they have their chart too, and they can do the same thing. So they know what they're focusing on, which takes a little bit less off of your chart that you have to focus on. So the bigger your team gets, the different charting looks, and there's different strategies for it. But my advice is just break it down as small as possible so that you remember every day that you can do it and that you know exactly where your focus is. Because again, it's just like having that empty box on your chart. If you don't know exactly where your next person is going, you'll freeze. And you can't afford to freeze in this kind of momentum. You need to wake up every day with action steps. And if you know exactly what you need, you're more likely to go get it. So, put your promotion all over the place, Ruby, Emerald, Diamond, whatever your goal is. You need to be seeing it everywhere. You need to see it on your mirror, on your wall, on the dash of your car. It needs to be right there in front of you, because I'm also a believer that if that's the thing that's seeping into your mind every single day, your actions are going to follow your thoughts. And so if you're thinking Ruby, 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 every day when you wake up, the actions are going to align with that goal. And you're more likely to be more disciplined when you're thinking that every single day. You're more likely to work like a Ruby if you're thinking Ruby every day, or Emerald every day, or Diamond every day. So yeah, so much of it is mental, and so much of it is just having a game plan. So if you haven't done that yet with your charts, I highly suggest that. And if you're on someone's team that you know is pushing for a promotion, reach out and ask them. If you're someone that you know you're driven by someone else needing you to be at a certain rank or needing you to have certain sales, reach out and ask them, because I guarantee you, you're important to at least one person on this Zoom, if not 10 people on this Zoom. And just, if that'll motivate you even 10% to go after your goals, do it. Like I told you, I was motivated because I knew my sponsor needed me to be at a certain rank. So don't be shy to ask, like, hey, I'm sure I'm not important to your chart, but trust me, you're important to someone's chart. You're always important to someone's chart. There's always someone that needs you to do well, that is praying that you're going to be their runner, is praying that you're going to fill in that last spot on your chart. There is always someone. And that's the cool thing about this business, is that there is always someone that wants to cheer you on. But sometimes they don't know how unless you're staying in contact with them and you're showing up. So show them you're ready to run with them. I always compare it to my business. Like when I had my boutique, nobody cared if I made any money. Nobody cared if I took home a paycheck. My landlord wanted his $4,000 a month. My electric company wanted my money. My vendors wanted, me to pay for my inventory. But nobody at the end of the day cared if I made any money. And we are so fortunate that we are working in an industry and with a company where actually we all care that you make money, because we want you to stick around. So if you want to make money, then make sure you're staying close to the people that you work with and the people above you. Because like I said, everyone wants you to do well, but they also want you to stay connected and plugged in, because it's so much easier to help people when we know that they want it and that they're showing up. So I always tell my team and tell my girls, like, I am here. I am yours. Like, I will do whatever I can to help you reach your goals. You just got to meet me part way. I got to know that you're going to show up. I got to know that every once in a while, if I can count on you to be commission qualified, or that I can count on you to be up till midnight on the last day of the month. Like, that's the kind of like hustle and drive that I'm looking for. And I will go 90% of the way, but I need you to come 10%, and I need you to show up. So, I think that, I'll answer some questions if you guys have them.
I want to piggyback on just a few things before we do questions.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't know if everybody knows, so I'm just going to throw it out there. I know I told you to stand up earlier, but we've had some people get on. So Elissa is pregnant, and this baby's a little miracle baby. We prayed for this baby for a long time. I don't know if y'all remember or if you've ever been pregnant, but she is about to pop in April. So you get tired. You can use it as an excuse. You have baby stuff to do. You have a room to decorate. You have your whole life could be baby. And I just wanted to kind of put that out there, that even though you're looking at this business, and I know that a question is about balance and working and all that. Well, this is the baby. He is the reason why we do what we do. And so I just wanted to kind of talk about, you could use that as an excuse, and everybody would go, oh, it's okay, Elissa, you can take a little breather. And you haven't.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of reasons, but first of all, this business is what's allowing me to be home with Jackson when he comes. And so I would never take that for granted. And I have too many people on my team that are fighting for goals. Like, I probably should be exhausted. I don't know. But like, I feel like when your goal is big enough and you have enough people on your team where their goals are big enough for them, like, I don't even need the sleep. Like, I'm so like motivated that, so if you're tired or you're finding lots of excuses, then most likely your why isn't big enough and your goal's not big enough, or it's not urgent enough. maybe you're like, well, a year from now, I would like to do this. Maybe you should speed that up to like 6 months from now and see how much faster it makes you work. And the other thing is, like she touched on, like, this is our little rainbow baby after 3 losses. If I can work this business through grieving babies, I can definitely work this business through celebrating one. And that's the way I look at it. I'm like, I'm so blessed to be pregnant with this baby and to have a business that I love. I can stay up late every night to work my business. And I know that things will change when he's here. But while I can work like this, I'm going to work like this. And I'm going to drain every bit of energy until he comes. I just also look at it as a way to prepare for having a newborn and not sleeping very much. So I'm like, it's fine. But yeah, I don't like, if you're constantly one of those people, or you have people on your team that are constantly like, I'm tired, I'm busy, I have all these things going on. I might not have the schedule that I had when I first started this business, but I had an excuse then and I didn't use it. And I have a great excuse now when I'm not using it. You get to choose what you prioritize, and you have time for the things that you prioritize, and you have time for the goals that you prioritize. So if you're constantly finding yourself in this state of like, you work hard for a couple weeks and then all of this life happens and you have to take off for a month, and then you work for a week or two and then you have to take time off, you need to reevaluate your goals and your objective for this business, because it is a business. And while there were definitely days over the last couple of years where I haven't been 100%, I've still showed up, because the thing is, if this was a normal job, I would still have to show up. And I'm so thankful that showing up for me now looks like sweat and yoga pants and dry shampooed hair. Like, I'll take this kind of showing up every single day. Showing up might look like a few Facebook posts if that's all I have the brain power for, but how stinking awesome is it that that's what showing up looks like in our business, that we can get on a power hour with other people trying to reach their goals, and we can be in all different states or countries all across the world and work together. Like, that's what showing up looks like. We are just so fortunate, and I think sometimes we take that for granted because we're tired or whatever. But again, if your goal is big enough, you'll make it happen. You'll find a way to show up. You'll get over the exhaustion. And the other thing is, I'm not going to lie, there are days that I do not want to work. There are days that I'm tired. Why did I agree to do this Zoom? Like, I'm sleepy. And you know what? I get on anyways. And then I end up staying up till 1 a.m. working. Sometimes you just have to show up and start doing things even though you don't feel like it. And the motivation comes. The motivation never comes first. The motivation comes from doing things. So you show up, you start working, you start doing those little easy tasks, even just growing your network or finding people to follow on Instagram. And then it increases over time. It's just like going to the gym. There's so many days you don't want to go to the gym, and then sometimes you go and you actually feel good about showing up and you actually do an extra workout. Or even if you hate it the whole time you're there, you still feel good once you leave because you showed up and did it. And it's the same thing with business. Yeah. Like, I'm still so proud of myself when I go to bed late and I'm like, I didn't even want to get on that Zoom at 8 o'clock, and here I am going to bed at 1. Yeah. So it's fun, but just don't expect to be motivated every single day. And don't expect this whole month when you're going for a promotion, don't expect for you to think every single day it's going to happen. There's probably going to be a moment or 2 or 10 throughout the month where you're like, I don't know if I can pull it off. And you've got to snap out of that so fast. Talk to someone that'll breathe life into you, because if you're going for some of these huge promotions, it's just going to happen. I'm sorry. Like, there's going to be a moment where you're like, I don't know if I can pull this off. I don't know, so-and-so's not working, or like this happened or life happened. Because that's the other thing. Like, just get ready. If you're going for a huge promotion, something will probably happen. Something will, you'll get a flat tire, your car will break down, your kids will get sick. Like, guaranteed, you're on your way to a promotion. If everything just seems to go wrong all in 1 month, that's typically a pretty good sign. So maybe you'll be a fortunate one, but I know for a lot of us, it seems like the month that we make the decision to go is the month the devil throws every little curveball at us to try and stop us. And that means that you're onto something good. So I always try to remember that, and I don't want you guys to plan for the worst. Like, definitely expect the best, but as much preparation you can do. And that's why, like, I really harp on getting your chart, getting your roadmap, making sure people are commission qualified and all of that stuff, because it never fails. On the 25th, some people you thought were going to be at 400 aren't going to be at 400, and someone you thought was going to be commission qualified isn't going to be commission qualified. And there's always a curveball, but when you're ready for it it doesn't affect you nearly as much. And so just try to prepare as much as you can throughout the month. Obviously, preparation doesn't make us any money. We need to do all the income producing stuff, but it can also save you a lot of stress. So plan now and don't wait till later.
So good. Oh my goodness. All right. I just wanted one more thing. There's a question about balance. And I know when it's March Madness, there is no balance. You need to set your family down if you have a family and say, this is what mommy is going after, or set your husband down and say, this is the opportunity that I have. And again, it's like what Elissa said, what the work that you put in now is going to make a huge difference 2 years from now, 5 years from now, because I've been in the business. Elissa's been in longer than I have. She's been in 7 years. I've been in 6. And I remember the momentum that came the first time around. And that carried me through a long time. And so now we just see, there's no balance. Just forget the balance. Just work and figure out balance in June when you're cashing a check that has a comma.
That is a good point. I'm like, it's so much easier to balance when you've got more money in the bank account. So just work on the bank account now and work on the balance later, or work on the balance of your bank account now and work on the balance of your life later is how we should talk about it.
So good.
But I love, I think it's Ashley that always says this, and I've started teaching my team this, but sit down with your husband or your significant other or your kids or whatever, figure out what the 3 things are that they really appreciate that you do for them. And let everything else go. Tell them like why you're reaching for a certain goal or what the goal is. Have a very honest conversation and then figure out what those 3 things are and then let yourself off the hook for the rest. Because this was so eye-opening for me with my husband, because he's like way clean freak. And especially at this time of year, I am just so not. Like, I could care less if there's dishes in the sink because I'm trying to make $1 million. But I also, work from home. And so I get really stressed and anxious about it because I want to be a good wife and I want to take care of the house, but I also just want to make money. And so I had that conversation and I was like, the bathroom's a mess and there's clothes and the kitchen. And he was like, honestly, I could care less about the bathroom. Do whatever you want with the bathroom. So I'm thinking, I'm just going to put all the dishes in the sink in the bathroom because I just really don't want to do the dishes. But in all honesty, like, I'm like, okay, I can let myself off the hook for that. I can walk into the bathroom and not think he's going to think he's married to a slob. And I can just focus on the kitchen and I can let myself in. So like, do whatever you can. And it may be something so simple that you're like, I didn't even know he didn't care about that. I was putting all this pressure on myself to take care of this and he doesn't care. And so find out those 3 things or his love language or whatever, do that. And then let the rest go and work your business and say goodbye to balance. You don't have to neglect your kids totally. Like Tyler and I sat down at the beginning of this month and I was like, okay, it's going to be crazy. I'm probably not going to shower a whole lot and I probably won't get to the dishes very much, but let's set aside a couple of days. Like, we do have a baby that's being born next month. This is our last time as, just the 2 of us. And so that's important to me too. So I'm like, let's write some days on the calendar. We'll go to dinner on this day. We won't take our phones. We'll go to church on Sundays in the morning. Won't take our phones. And then we'll have breakfast at home and then I'll work. Set aside some days so that you know that you're taking care of all of those other priorities in your life, but also let them know that this is a priority in your life and let them be a part of it. Let them cheer you on and just kind of set those, for those of you that aren't planners, that's probably harder for you, but really you need to do it. And they'll be so glad that you did when that check rolls in. So just do what you need to make it happen, and to not totally drive everyone crazy. But yeah, there is just no balance.
Good. It's so good. Oh, Elissa, I love you so much. Thank you for this. I appreciate all the words of wisdom and all the nuggets, and I know the team does too. And let me pray for you. We're not going to keep you any longer. I've already kept you 10 minutes past time, so let me pray over you and Jackson and Tyler and our teams and your promotion, and then we'll stop the recording at that point.
All right. Thank you.
Dearly Father, Lord, I come to you and I thank you so much for Elissa and for Tyler and baby Jackson. I just pray right now that you put a special protection over them. And Lord, I thank you for the promotion that Elissa will be having on before May 31st. I know her calendar and behind says the 31st, but I really think that it'll be before then. And I thank you for what she means to me and this promotion that you have placed in her heart, and it's going to happen right before her amazing little miracle baby is born. Lord, I just thank you for everyone who is watching this Zoom and just getting excited and knowing that, you know, there's that spark and that hope and that love that they can do this. Lord, it takes everybody to work together, but it takes us to decide it will be done. And Lord, I thank you for allowing us to be able to dream and teaching us to dream, and that we deserve to be able to wear pajamas and have messy hair and not have to worry about dishes in the sink. That it's okay, Lord, that this is a season, it's a time, it's not forever, and that you will provide for us, and you're just going to be able to bring the people in, Lord, that we need to concentrate on two things, and that is loyal customers and distributor and in training them, God. Lord, I think that sometimes we just complicate everything, and complicate and chaos and fear is straight from the devil. And I just pray that you will get rid of all that. Lord, again, I lift up Stormy to you. I know that obviously this is her time because I know she's going through a lot of stuff. So I'm excited to see what this month holds for her. I just pray for every single person that's on the Zoom. Keep us well, keep us safe. Again, just lift up Tyler and Alyssa and Jackson in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Jackson loved the prayer, by the way.
Yeah.
He must like your voice.
He loves me. I'm a great Aunt Gina. Okay, we could probably stop at this point. But all right. I love you so much. Thank you for